So the first thing I would look at is there's a couple kind of rule of thumbs to think about here. And so this is why I asked about how much time you have to train, because it will apply it a little bit differently. So to be clear, there's rules in terms of what we would love to follow if everything was like perfectly great and you had all the availability in the world. And then there's the actual real life application of like you as a busy dad, worker and such, and trying to go forward. So I'm going to put forth the ideas. I'm going to respect, obviously, to the best of my ability, without knowing your life and day to day and being in conversation with you. But one of the things we want to look at, if I just scroll ahead to like week 6 here when we start workouts, is generally we do not want your workout day to be longer than your easy runs. And so the reason for that becomes if you get an injury, let's say, okay, like Achilles flare up, peroneal flare up, like you mentioned that you've had before, we don't know if it was actually the duration because that's a higher day or the intensity or a mix, right? Mm-hmm. And when we don't know those things, when we try to reintegrate post injury, we don't know which variable to omit or which ones we can bring back in safely. Okay. So again, you're a busy dad of, I think you said 3, correct?
Yep.
Yeah. And work and everything. So I'm going to paint the best picture of the knowledge in terms of how we apply it. At the end of the day, you're obviously the one who has to get out there and ensure that your kids still get to see you and you get to go to work on time and all those things, right? So I fully respect all of that. I just want to make that note here as we think about this, because that's something that, like, let's say you came to me halfway through and there was like an injury audit type thing we're looking at. It would be like, would be really hard to decipher that. And then it becomes really hard to figure out what to put back in. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
Okay. So, for the first, 4, 5, 6 weeks, I've got no problem with you building up the volume. If you wanted to, we could elongate them out. Ideally, I like to see people 40, 45 minutes. And the reason for that is once you start workouts, you're going to want a 10 to 15 minute warm up, a 10 to 15 minute cool down. Well, that's 30 minutes already, right? Mm-hmm. So then you're only really playing with 10 to 15 minutes of work. So it's not like it's an absolute rule that must be followed all the time, but I'm only thinking about this for you, given that you've had some of that injury history with the things that have happened in the past. So no problems here in the first kind of 4, 5, 6 weeks or 5 weeks that you've got a volume. If anything, you could increase like 1 run a week by 5 minutes until you get to 45 minutes, or 2 runs like a Monday, Friday or something like that, just to elongate those up a little bit. But again, I want to fully respect the parameters that you actually have as the person who has to do it. Like, I'm the one who gets to tell you what looks good on a spreadsheet and what rules to follow in terms of it, but you're the one who actually has to go out and do this. So take that with what it is. I don't want, any marital or familiar problems or work problems for you as part of this. Okay.